Recently, the topic of whether we should merge the Catholic board into the public system was revived by two professors at Western University. While Doug Ford and the PCs refused to touch the issue, along with every party except the Greens, bizarrely, I believe it is an argument that needs consideration, but politicians won't look at it. They just want votes after all. It's all people just trying to get into office. And touching upon an issue like this would most certainly divide their bases, so I can kind of see where they're coming from on that. But whether it's possible in today's government is not what we're discussing. I'm going to share my own perspective on the hot topic that Professors Bill Irwin and Samuel Troskow gave new life to. I believe they should merge the Catholic board and public board. Here's why. Alright, so reason number one is the massive amount of money to be saved here. In 2012, there was a report done by the Federation of Urban Neighborhoods of Ontario, which is a volunteer organization of community neighborhood groups, and they looked at the issue of merging school boards. They crunched all the numbers and found that there is around $1.2 billion to be saved. And, well, annually as well. It's annually. So that is quite a bit of money that is being thrown down the drain. And as someone who is certainly fond of fiscal responsibility, as I assume many of my viewers would be, it is a waste to throw that money down the drain, especially considering the circumstances it was implemented in are no longer applicable in today's society, which would bring me to my next point. Alright, so my next point will touch on the separation of church and state. Now, there are a few aspects to this point. It's not as simple as they should be separated. So I'll start with the fact that the whole funding for Catholic schools is protected by the rather outdated Section 93 of the Constitution Act, which was implemented to protect Catholic values and ensure that the Roman Catholic minority in Ontario would not be financially pressured to send their students to Protestant public schools. In 1982, they ended up removing the Lord's Prayer and Bible lessons from Protestant public schools, but since Catholic schools remained constitutionally protected, the court didn't touch them. Now, due to the separation of church and state and the fact that Protestant schools are no longer Protestant, they're just open public schools, they have no religious affiliations at all. In fact, they sometimes try to ban words like Christmas and whatnot. There is no longer a special need to protect Catholic schools from the public school, and there is no Protestant tinge. Religion should be moved from publicly funded education. Not to mention, the removal of government-run Catholic schools should fall under the brim, that is, the separation of church and state, considering many students, such as myself, don't necessarily have a viable public school alternative. Alright, so for my third point, I'll be discussing about how this system discriminates against non-Catholics. So first off, it is exclusively Catholic in a taxpayer publicly funded institution, which doesn't make any sense. With the extremely low teaching need in Ontario, you are incredibly disadvantaged because 1/3 of the jobs carry mandatory Catholicism due to the Catholic board. You need a letter from a priest and proof of baptism, which does not belong in a public institution. In the article, The Public Funding of Catholic Schools in Ontario is Unstable and Unprincipled by the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, they discovered that in 1999, the UN Human Rights Committee found that the preferential funding of Roman Catholic schools in Ontario amounted to religious discrimination and that Canada was, therefore, in breach of its obligations under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. My fourth and final point is, bizarrely, that these schools just aren't very Catholic. They're not meeting the demands of traditional Catholicism. In fact, at these schools, plenty of these teachers simply do not care about Christianity. They don't care about teaching your kids the ways of the Lord. As Rachel Leininger states in her article, quote, "In name only, your Catholic school isn't very Catholic," end quote. She describes the atmosphere of a Catholic school along with the student mentality. She states, quote, "We all had the right Catholic things, sacraments, religion classes, retreats, etc. But just because we had all the right Catholic things doesn't mean people cared about living a Catholic life. Students napped during Mass, the same 3 kids volunteered to lead prayer in class, and more because they hated awkward silences, not so because they liked prayer. And retreats, well, most of them left a lot to be desired. We were a Catholic school, so why didn't anyone care about Catholic stuff? Catholic stuff, not scuff. End quote. It's the same at my Catholic school, and every Catholic school around me, according to peers. Sorry, note mix up there. Teaches material that flies in the faith of traditional Catholicism. These schools teach stuff like evolution, gay acceptance, etc. And they kind of diverged away from what a lot of true Christians would want. And another big point is they have to adopt whatever curriculum is put forward by the Ministry of Education, whereas if it was a private school, they could do what they want. But for instance, and I can't remember what year it was, but I know Kathleen Wynne and the Liberals put forward a sex ed curriculum that a lot of parents did not like, and the school had to take it because it is a government institution, whereas if it was a private school, it could focus on stuff that parents would want in their Catholic schools. And in conclusion, I believe that the Catholic School Board, without a doubt, should be merged into a sole school board. And if Catholics want religious schooling, they should enroll their child in a private school, as it is better for them, the taxpayer, and everyone else. Alright, so thank you for watching my video. I hope you did enjoy, and feel free to subscribe or whatever, because I'm going to make a bunch more videos on these topics. I've got a list of topics I kind of want to go over, mainly including subjects such as feminism, maybe Maxime Bernier in the future, if that's still relevant, if his new party and whatnot, when info on that comes out. And yeah, I hope to supply more videos. So thank you guys for watching. Peace.